Welcome to real estate, the world's loneliest career, where you're always out of balance, unfulfilled, the role models are fake, the numbers unattainable, and you're just supposed to be and do it all. Join self-made millionaire real estate agents, wives, moms, and business owners as we level up, learn from special guests, and elevate and disrupt an entire industry through real education our way.
Okay, I have to make sure that we're actually live because I'm going to start calling it technical difficulty Tuesday, right? Doesn't that seem like
it's accurate?
A little accurate. Let's see. Hang on. Give us just a second here. Oh, we're live.
Oh, we did it.
Okay, so it is Tuesday, December 20th. It is 5 days until Christmas Day. We're not even going to touch that. I don't even want to talk about it. I'm not ready.
Started shopping yet?
I did. I did. I started shopping yesterday, and I'm going to finish today. But we're not going to talk about that. So raise your hand if you need help this Christmas. It's me. What I did think we would talk about, what we thought we would talk about is this has been a wildly bizarre year.
Yeah.
Like, raise your hand if you've been victimized by 2022 at some point. Everybody. So I kind of think we just thought we'd go through a recap of like some of the major stuff that happened this year, because it's been such a seriously like large roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
But I don't even know.
Go on again, to be honest.
I don't know. I don't even hardly remember what happened this year. It's been so crazy, somewhat traumatizing.
Like, it was June yesterday, I swear. And now it's December. Like, what happened? I blacked out. Maybe I blocked it out.
It really was June last year, I swear. So I don't know what happened with that. So first of all, for anyone listening, if you have any interest in listening back to any of these podcast episodes, last week we talked about the fact that the show is such a wealth of knowledge. Everyone comes here, the guests do it for free. It's like taking a master class from like some of the brightest and the best real estate professionals in the world. Go back into the archive and listen to all these episodes. You can find them all on YouTube, all on your favorite podcasting platform, all on Facebook Live too. So go back and listen to those. But we started the year talking about things that people who are newly licensed do that will get them into trouble.
Uh-huh.
I think what I noticed about like the way that 2022 started was it felt very not insane. Like it didn't feel like it was going to go this crazy, this fast.
It was like the calm before the storm that we didn't know was about to happen.
Yes. And then we had a conversation about if you're in the right place at the right brokerage, which I think was a super valuable conversation. January statistically is the number one month that agents switch brokerages. And so I think that was very timely. It's timely again this year. If you're thinking about switching brokerages, we talked about what makes a brokerage good, right, bad, ugly for you, right? And then we talked about turning clients into raving fans. That was a conversation that we had with our dear friend Garrett Maroon, who we love. His Sphere programs are so brilliant. If you're looking to pick up in 2023, oh my God, I can't even say that. If in 2023 you're looking up to pick up either starting to work your Sphere business or re-engaging with your Sphere, whatever it is, double tripling down on your Sphere business, definitely go back and find both of those episodes with Garrett Maroon, because he is an absolute genius at that. And he talks about how to divide your Sphere up into quarters so that you are always touching everybody in the group, but it's not completely overwhelming. He's amazing. And then we went into Bolt, which is really fun. That stands for Bull, Owl, Lamb, Tiger. And that is one of Angela and I's favorite thing in the whole world. That is teaching you how to identify the personality of the people that you're working with in order to sell more real estate and be able to make better relationships with your clients. So that was really fun. It's like a classic old school sales training.
Yeah, mixed with like a little bit of psychology.
Love the psychology. Mm-hmm. Love those. And then we went from Bolton to mirror and match, how to mirror and match people's emotions and personalities. I think that's like almost even more important right now than it was when we were talking about that in like February, March, because everybody's really emotional right now. And then this is cracking me up. The next one that we did was a class where we brought in friends from all across the United States, real estate agent friends from all across the United States. And we talked about what a listing agent really wants in an offer. Like what you can do to get super aggressive that might be kind of niche that you haven't thought about to get an offer accepted in a multiple offer situation. So clearly,
which was helpful at that time because that's when everything went crazy and it was really crazy timely, like that's right when people needed to know how to get their offers accepted.
Yeah. I mean, that was as we rolled into February, right? So that was, I mean, right when things were really crazy. So it's just funny to look back on that now. Right. And then we talked about, we had Accept Inc. on the show. They were amazing. They're local here in Denver, but they're national. They were one of the first companies to come out with a cash offer program. So how to turn your finance buyers into cash offers. They were an incredible guest. I wonder what Accept Inc. is doing right now.
I don't know.
Maybe getting ready for 2023. If we, maybe that stuff pops back up in 2023. We don't know. Then we had our good friend, Melissa Terzis from the DC metro area on the show. We love her. She's a master at kind of, she's a master at marketing in general. She's a master at kind of doing things in the community to engage with her community. And that's a great episode of the show. If you didn't listen to that, to go back and listen to. Then we had our good friend Trisha Turner on the show. She's a beast. She's down south. She's just brilliant. And we talked about, really how to dive in again in a seller's market. And this is funny. So this is what's funny to me is like when we started, Angela and I, to talk about the market shifting was in February. And we started talking about it with, an episode that we called Inflation Insulation, which, where we talked about what was going on in the market and the indicators that showed that inflation was kind of ramping up and that could be kind of scary. We started talking about that in February. We were getting all these comments from all these people that were like, yeah, no, that's not going to happen. The market's going to be good like this forever. We're never going to see, blah, 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 and I think we were ahead of the curve by about at least 3 months talking about that, for sure.
Part of the key here is that we are actually in the markets every day, working. So we know what's going on probably well before everybody else. Most podcasts are done by people that have not sold homes in 10, 15 years. So they're only getting their knowledge secondhand. We're getting it live in the streets every day because Lindsay and I are always working as listing agents and buyer's agents. So we kind of know what's going on all the time. So you guys get the information quicker.
Preach. Then we had an episode, if you're just joining us, we're recapping how we think that the roller coaster of 2022 went based on like the flow of the shows, of the episodes over the years this year. So then we had an episode all about VA and VA loans where Angela talked to us about VA loans and VA appraisals. That is such an important episode to go back and listen to regardless of what the market does in the future. She shared some crazy knowledge on that episode that I know we got tons of feedback from people that were like, oh, I didn't know that. I never had heard that before. So that's a great one. But you can see there. So we started talking about inflation and the positive way that the market was going, but the fact that could maybe cause some problems in February. And then we went back to talking about VA loans because at that point they still weren't getting accepted, right? So market was still crazy. Then we had our friend Michelle Belisari from Florida, from Boca Raton, come on the show. She was fabulous. And she came on and talked to us about marketing and niche business and how to find your niche and all that jazz. And then we had our good friend Joe Herrera on, and he came on and talked to us. The title of his episode, so Joe knew what was going on too back in February. The title of Joe's episode was, "What is it going to take to survive the coming market?" Which is interesting. That was one of my very favorite episodes that I think that we had all year, because he talked a lot about like high level accountability and how to hold yourself accountable, which is what I think we're struggling with right now. Like, I think what we did was we started the year off where if you just had a sign out saying I'm in business, people were going to come and find you, to this insane period, I think, of like, oh shit, things are starting to change. Then to this period of like, everyone is depressed and on the couch eating popcorn, Netflix, and chill. And now to everyone going, okay, like, we got to figure this out because this is going to last. We don't know how long, and we have to do something, right? And then we had, again, Garrett. We love Garrett and his team from Newport News, Virginia. His whole team came on and they did a masterclass for us on how to actually build a team. And I loved that, because we had the team leader from a sales perspective, we had his admin support with us, and then we had his operations support with us. So they talked to us about, building a team just sounds like so easy and fun, right? But what it's actually like and what it actually requires. And if you are thinking about building a team in 2023, that's a great one to listen to.
Yeah.
Then we had our friend Lauren Taylor on. Lauren's awesome. She teaches TikTok classes for real estate agents. She came on and schooled us on TikTok, where I've been desperately trying to get my act together, but it's exhausting.
Me too.
The TikTok. Then we did a class on client touch points and pop buys. That's a great one going into 2023. So if you're a Sphere agent or you want to work a Sphere business, kind of some pop buys and things to do there.
It's also a good one. Like, if you don't know what to do with yourself for the next 2 weeks, to go back and watch that episode. Lindsay shared like a ton of knowledge on different pop buys to do. That way you can go ahead and plan out your whole year with that. And now is a really good time to do that, because the beginning of the year is when you want to drop your first one. So you want to be planning that now.
Yeah, for sure. And that's like 2 weeks away. So you got to be on it now. And then this is where things started to change. So March, we did an episode called Recession. Are we in one? Are we headed for one? What's going to happen? So that's when we peaked, and then you can see us start to come back down the other side of the curve. Then we went into talking about how to price correctly in a shifting market. Insanely important. We're all still trying to figure that out. That's a great one to listen to. We talked a lot this year about changing your narrative, right? Like,
I think it's still an issue,
Oh, it's still a massive issue. We were just talking about that last week, right? We talked about how to have tough conversations, right? Like how to sharpen up the sword of having to give, finger quotes, kind of like bad news. We had a lot of special guests. We had some amazing people on the show this year, economists, financial advisors, people who came on the show and explained everything from like, what is the Fed? How are interest rates calculated? I know.
Yeah.
Like, I learned some stuff in some of those episodes this year. So I would definitely go back and start listening to those, because some of the tough conversations that you have to have are we've talked about this before, right? Like, buyers and sellers in the world that we live in today, they're probably smarter than we are, because we get like kind of head down tunnel vision into whatever it is that we focus on. So whether that's like our little area or listing properties or helping buyers or whatever it is, these guys, your clients, they're out there studying the market, all of it, like crazy people, right? If they're gearing up to buy and sell, especially with a market like we've had the last couple of years and going into this year. So, they know about the national markets, they know about the Fed, they know about the local markets, right? They know about interest rates. So part of the tough conversations that are happening right now is just that the world is so informed. Now, they may come up with information that isn't quite 100%, or they may make their own decisions and judgments based on what we don't believe to be 100% accurate information, but they're informed. Like they know what they know, right? And so if you don't know what they know and then what you're supposed to know, you're going to be in trouble. So I mean, we learned some stuff this year. Like we had one episode where we had a financial advisor on who talked about, it was so good. Like, what is the Fed? What is a commercial interest rate? What is a housing interest rate? Why do rates go up? Why do they go down? What causes inflation, right? All of that stuff. So that was like brilliant. Go listen to that.
Like, I think that we learned this year what that power that the government has is, because they can make a few clicks of a mouse and all of a sudden our market shifts massively. And I don't think that people realized that before, that the government has that much power. So
yeah, that's a really interesting way to say that, but you're 100% correct. I think that the last couple of years have kind of been a study in that. But yeah, no, you're absolutely correct, because this is historically the fastest rise in interest rates, meaning the fastest deterioration that we've ever seen in a market period in history anywhere in the world, right? So yeah, you're absolutely correct about that.
The fact that it can be arbitrarily like fixed with just a few clicks and a conversation, that just blows my mind. Like it makes me angry that that could happen, and that they have that much power and that we allow them to have that much power, but that's a whole different story. But yeah, I mean,
it's scary.
They got a lot of power.
It's very scary. I mean, we talked about this. The way that you vote, unfortunately, does directly influence your career. If you're in a career like real estate, like lending, like anything to do with real estate or the housing market, you are 100% in a career where the economy directly correlates to your income.
Yeah.
And the way you vote directly coordinates to the economy. So watch what you're doing there. Just to finish out the year, we just had amazing guests on. Angela did a live staging class with us. She walked us through a bunch of listings online, what was good, what was not good, what needed to change. I learned a ton from that. We had Dirk, a home inspector, on. He's done like over 10,000 home inspections or some crazy number like that. And he gave us tons of information on property inspections. We, again, did lots of rate forecasts, market forecasts. We had Alex Jarbo on. He was one of my favorites this year.
Yeah.
He is an Airbnb guy. Brilliant. He kind of, okay, so if you're interested in Airbnb, your clients are interested in that, you got to listen to that episode. But honestly, even just the way that he talked about how that segment of the business doesn't really change as much during a market downturn, right? And so, yeah, so maybe agents should be attacking that actually, because rents and home prices are opposite, right? So when buyer confidence goes down and people don't want to buy a home and the pricing of homes go down, the price of rent skyrockets because everybody's renting, right? And so getting into some of that rental market is, I think going to be pretty important the next couple of years.
Yeah. I mean, I had one of my rental properties I had on the market for sale, and I just couldn't sell it for what I wanted to sell it for. So we ended up allowing a tenant to get in there and rent it for more than it was being rented for before. And they're going to be purchasing it. So
nice.
It's a pretty crazy thing to see like how different the market shifted, at least in that part of our town, how quickly. So
I have one that I purchased that I can't get out from underneath either. And I'm actually really excited because I'm going to turn it into a short-term rental. And that is not something I would have ever normally touched, but I'm really excited about it. So again, like that's something interesting we learned this year, right? You can look at things in two different ways. Oh my God, some disruptor came into the market and it totally freaked me out.
Right.
Bad, 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 bad. Or you can look at it as like, oh, I get to try different things. I get to learn new things. I get to see how this works, you know? One of the things that I loved about what Alex says was like, just turn it into a short-term rental. And if it doesn't work, then you can always turn it into a long-term rental or sell it, right? Like, but he was so helpful.
So here's a note, something that I've always wanted to do in a house, a vacation home or a short-term rental, is turn it into a selfie house.
I'm thinking about it.
that photographers can run out and people can run out to do like photos and stuff, or they can just stay there and take tons of
So
selfies.
there's a girl on TikTok who's like 20 years old and she owns hundreds of Airbnbs and she's like doing something crazy different. She's turning them into experience houses. Like, so some of them are staged like you're walking into the house from Stranger Things or the Goonies or whatever, or you're walking into like a selfie house. I'm going to try to get her on the show this next year because what she's doing is like bizarre. So if I can convince my investor partners, I'm going to try something like that. So we'll see. We had Harry Cherry on, who is a luxury expert out of Philadelphia. I think, honestly, I took one of the biggest things away from him this whole year, which is just like be obsessive about knowing your market. I mean, he is just a master, a genius at knowing what's going on with the data and the trends and the people in his market. We had Susanna Madrano come on. She's brilliant. Love her. She talked to us the first time that she was here just about, what to do right now, steps to take right now to make sure that you have a profitable and okay 2023. And then she came back and did a whole live role play class with us with some of her agents, and that was super powerful.
Yeah.
And last week we just talked about the fact that 2023 is going to be a pretty intense year. It can be an intensely successful year. It can be an intensely bad. I hate to say bad. I just don't like that word in general, but bad year. And you're in charge, right? The only one that's in charge of your year is you. So it's just funny to me how, looking at the arc of the show over the year, we really did make this. I'm thinking of it like a roller coaster. Like it literally is. Like we got on the cart in January of 2022, thinking we knew where the roller coaster was going to go, and we rode it up to like the tippy top where they're going to drop you. And then like we thought it was just going to go straight down, and instead it was like, ooh, you're going to go down ass end first on your face.
Right.
Spiral.
Off. I think I fell off at some point.
Right. You're not strapped in. Right.
Roller coaster.
Yeah. And then now I think we're at the point where people are like kind of off the roller coaster, but they're terrified to get back on it again for 2020.
Yeah.
So we have all these people that are like, I mean, honestly, quitting the business, leaving the business, putting their business on hold, which is really bad.
Stressful industry. It is so stressful, and I don't think people are prepared for it. It's hard to prepare somebody for this because the highs are so high and the lows are so low. It attracts a kind of person that's a little bit crazy, and we are all a little bit crazy for doing this. Like, this is an insane business when you think about it. So I just wanted to say, like, I think it's incredible that, the people that are still listening, that are still here, we're all here. We made it. We made it through this really rough year, and you should be really proud of yourself because you did it. So, and now you get to enjoy Christmas and relax for a couple days, maybe.
Amen to that. Yeah, absolutely. We did make it. We're still hanging in there. It's funny. I was just thinking while you're talking, when people have asked me about like how I got into real estate and my story in real estate, I've always told it. And my story personally is like up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, not with me, but market change. And I know you're the same way. And so it's funny. I have always said as a joke, like, and then as soon as I got my feet underneath me, as the real estate market likes to do, it fucked me and we had to start over. And, but I even forgot that honestly is more normal in real estate than when we've been through the last couple of years, which is like, we did just go through this really long market cycle of easy.
Right.
Pretty calm, no major disruptions outside of COVID, obviously. But, I even kind of forgot how much this can change and how fast it can change. I mean, it is a business of change.
It is. I think the faster people get comfortable with change, the easier it's going to be on them.
How do you get comfortable with change?
Just keep doing it and changing your mindset around it.
Yeah, I mean, the only constant thing in the life is change, right? So, you either can't be in this business if you can't do change, or you are not going to make it in this business over the long term, or you're going to have to choose just to decide change is happening, change is coming. I'm not always going to get a heads up on it. I don't know what it's going to be, but
Right.
the change is pretty normal.
Yeah. You got to figure out how to embrace it and almost incite it and, get ahead of it.
I mean, if you really think about it, what you do is manage change for a living in real estate, because in an easy period, which is, and guys, don't hear me wrong when I say easy. I just mean easy as in not as many ups and downs in a short period of time, right? But in an easy market period, a more stable, whether it's high or low market period, like that we just saw, the clients, there really was a lot of questioning about the value of real estate agents, because they were able to do with so much information out there now, so much of it on their own, that I even heard many, many, many real estate agents talking about whether or not we had real value anymore. And everyone was terrified that all these disruptors, were tech companies were going to come in and put us out of business and first of all, in a more difficult, nuanced, skill-based market, your clients will always see your value more, and they'll always pay you more because you're helping them. But if you really think about it, what you're doing and advising people through is change.
Yeah. Huge change, stressful change.
Yeah. And everything from how it changes their lives and their families' lives to how is the market changing? How are values changing? Right? So if you can't get comfortable with that, man, it is kind of sad to me how many agents really were licensed over the last 4 or 5 years, because it looked so, finger quotes, easy, and I just think that they got a really wrong perspective for what real estate actually is. And again, I think that that's what made the public devalue us.
Right. Well, I will say the last 4 months, it seems like the public now realizes, oh shit, we actually do need realtors. And builders are like, hey guys, what's up? How you guys been? You want to come back and check out our model home? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're like your ex that just won't go away. That keeps popping up every time there's a holiday or they need something. No, totally. I mean, absolutely. And, I don't know about you, but I don't like, and then I want to talk about something really annoying that's totally off subject, but I don't like, I'm trying to think of how to say this. I don't like feeling like I don't have value. I don't like feeling like what I do isn't important. I don't like feeling like I'm a hack or anyone can do this or they can just throw a sign in, to me, the way that you and I were raised in this business, real estate is damn near sacred, right? It has always been a very respected profession up until really the last couple of years, when I think that things did get so easy. Let's just be honest, that people either went straight to a listing agent because it was the only way to get an offer approved, or they could just sell their house FSBO. 100%. It really was like that. They didn't need us that much, which is why we spent so much time talking about the legalities of being a real estate agent and the fact that your value isn't just in sales, right? But it does feel good a little bit to have people need us again.
Yeah. It does feel nice to be needed.
Well, it feels like we're respected again, we're what we do isn't a joke anymore, I mean, some people will still think that, but this is totally random and off the subject, but I hope she's not watching. I don't care if she is, whatever. So I get this a lot. I wanted to know if you ever get this. So a girl messaged me last night. She's been in and out of real estate. She's had a license, hung it up, probably over, I don't know, 8 to 10 years. And she messaged me and she said, I just activated my real estate license again. It looks like you're killing it. Can I get some help? Which it's not the can I get some help thing that bothers me. It's the it looks like you're killing it thing. I don't know why this bothers me so much. I feel like we get it from, oh, it looks like you're doing really well. we get that from the public, the
Right.
client. We shouldn't be getting that from other real estate agents. It drives me crazy because it's like, bitch, I've been killing it for 21 years. Like, I've been top of my game and top of my field and top in the fucking country for 21 years. I didn't just pop up yesterday and kill it. Like that. Do you get that from people ever?
Yeah.
And does it bother you?
It doesn't bother me. I don't really care. But I do have people that ask me all the time, like, hey, I'm thinking about getting my real estate license. Do you think it's a good idea? And I'm like, why?
Well, that's not what bothers me. I mean, clearly, like, we sit here every Tuesday for an hour, every Tuesday for the last 3 years and educate other real estate agents. I love that. My heart is for training. And serving other people. It's more.
Well, there's always that connotation behind it. It's like, I'm thinking about getting my real estate license because you look like you're doing really well and you're the most successful realtor I know. What would you tell them? Like, what are 3 things I should do? Like, I feel like it's
not, but it's also like, still 21 years later, people will message me and be like, how's your business going? What the fuck are you talking about? Great. It's always been great. It always will be great. It just irritates me. Like, why do we talk to each other like that? I don't know. It bothers me.
Because it's harder to say, hey, I respect you as a colleague and I feel like you are somebody that I've been looking up to. Do you have any advice for me? That's harder to say than it looks like you're killing it.
Yeah, I guess so. It's just very condescending to me that we talk to other people like that.
Yeah, well, that's what you get from lenders too. Like,
oh yeah, but it also speaks to what we were just talking about, and that's why I thought about it was, the fact that we certainly don't respect each other's business.
Yeah.
We don't even look at each other as legitimate, right? So yeah, it is good that the market is shifting back towards more difficult, because you as an agent will have a naturally easier time of proving your value.
Yeah, that's true. To everyone, not just your clients.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Even to other real estate agents. So what are we thinking is going to happen next year? I feel like I've started to just like not even question what's going to happen in 2023, because it could go so many different ways.
I'm not going to pretend to know what's going on. I can tell you that I am already busy with appointments for when I get back from vacation. I've got a bunch of listings coming online beginning of the year, a bunch of renovations. So it doesn't seem like things are slowing down for me, but it's hard to know until like that one split second. I've heard that they're raising rates again. We'll see. But ultimately in my market, what drives our market here is the military, and their pay just went up significantly. So that's really helpful. For once, their pay is commensurate with the market. So I think that'll mean that more people will come out and actually buy homes instead of throwing all their money in the trash and letting it on fire and giving it to the military base that they're living on in squalor. So I think that'll help our economy here in Colorado Springs a bit. But
yeah, I don't know. Like, it's like that meme, like, don't look. No one say 2023 is going to be your year. Just like, don't look it in the face. Just like, just go in quietly. It does feel a little bit like that. Mm-hmm. Fed did announce a rate increase. I don't know how that's going to affect interest rates. But then again, it's like there's, every other article from like very reliable financial sources, like Bloomberg just posted one that said that Freddie promises that they're going to have rates back down into the 4s by beginning of the year, Q2 probably. So it's like, I don't know. I think we need to be prepared for anything and everything. And I think that if you do the things and the activities that we've been talking about for the last 6 months to double, triple down in your business, the only thing that could be bad that might happen to you in 2023 if the market rebounds significantly is you got to go hire some help because you're too busy, right?
Yeah.
And the other way that it could go is things deteriorate further and you survive.
Yeah. So what are some things that you've been seeing the last week and a half, 2 weeks in the market that's maybe a little bit different than it was? Anything?
I have been having more conversations and calls with people getting ready to list or buy next year. So a lot of people, like you said, I'm filling my calendar up with appointments at the beginning of the year. I also do feel as if maybe people's emotions have calmed down a little bit. So I'm not talking to sellers who are high as a kite on their value right now. In fact, they're pleasantly surprised when I tell them what I think their value is, because they're not, they were worried it would be worse, if that makes sense, right? So I think that people are starting to calm down a little bit. And man, I'm getting a ton of messages from agents that are really in fear.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think it's something odd that I've seen through the end of the year now. Finally, I have every single one of my listings under contract. So there's nobody out there that's like hanging out, which I feel like is an achievement. But I will say the last one that went under contract, it was under contract with one lender, and then the agent has encouraged them to shop it around to a bunch of other lenders. And I'm like, huh. And I called that lender, and the lender's like, they're fine. They're qualified. I don't know why the agent's doing this. But that seems to be something that's happening now. I don't know why agents are doing that, but after people are under contract, they're asking them then to shop around. I don't know.
I've seen it too. I get it from more. Wow, that's interesting. So I've seen it a little bit too. I've seen it more as they have to switch lenders because they're real close on qualifying with that lender. And that might not mean that they're not qualified to buy a home. It just might mean that there is I don't know if you've noticed this, and everyone should notice this. There is a massive swing right now between programs that lenders have.
Yeah.
Right. So there's one lender that can't approve anyone under an 800 credit score. Then I've got another guy who can go down to the 5s. Then, my one lender has rates that are still in the 5s, but then everyone else has rates that are in the 7s. So, I can get it maybe from the perspective of making sure that they're actually going to be able to get to closing. The only reason, I don't know, and maybe I'm just making this up, but the only reason I could really think that an agent would encourage people to start shopping around is maybe if they're giving into the massive amounts of pressure that they're getting from all the lenders right now. Use me.
I don't know. I feel bad. I feel like the lenders in the world don't have as good of a lobbyist as realtors do. So they don't have these contracts. Mm-hmm. This particular lender has been working with those people for over 5 months, and the realtor's been around for about 30 days.
That's dirty.
So I'm like, there's no way to kind of protect that lender. And the lender called me as a listing agent and was like, hey, what do we do? This is going on. I don't really know. I feel like I should let you know, because one of the reasons why they're under contract right now is because you trust me. And now I don't know if they're going to use me. So I don't know if that's going to change how your seller and you view this offer. So, and they're like, also, we don't really know what to do. We have no recourse. So I feel bad for lenders. I feel like they should also have a buyer's agency agreement, But
they probably should. And they definitely don't. You're right. And I don't think that that's allowed legally. They have way more rules and regulations than we do, but man, they probably should. I do, like I said, I think that there is a massive swing right now in between programs. I've seen a 2-1 buy down cost $30,000 with this guy and 7 with this guy, right? So I do think that it's important for agents to have a solid lender relationship and for them to know what their lender can offer right now. But yeah, that's a trip that they're
right. But do that shit
make me worried that they're not qualified or that they can't get it done with that lender, right?
Well, that's what I said. I was like, so how close are we on qualifying? And he's like, they're fine. They're fine. It's not a qualifying thing. He's like, I think it's this realtor's trying to flex something at this point.
Well, so I will say, so Angela and I both came from the new construction world for many years when we first started in our careers. And there's a joke. It's not a joke because it's true, but there's a joke amongst all the new home sales people that realtors just get in the way. And so the joke with a new home salesperson to each other, they don't actually say this to the agent, is bring in your buyer and just shut up and let me do everything else. because you're just going to get in the way. I do think that there is some level of agents, and this goes back to like, oh, you're killing it. Them needing to feel as if they are valued and they're bringing something to the table and stuff. And so, in the new home world, like you will legitimately, absolutely see real estate agents cause problems. Like you could be at a walkthrough and the house is 9 out of 10 great. And then the real estate agent is like, oh, that's a problem. Blah, blah, blah. And they're like arguing with the superintendent about something that isn't actually a problem. They're just like needing to, it's almost like, how I guarantee you, I say this, I bet you say this too. Sorry, home inspectors. We tell our clients, even if the house is as clean as it can be, it's a 10 out of 10, it's brand new from the builder. That inspector is charging nowadays $1,000, $1,200 to do a full inspection. They're going to come up with something. Right. So it's almost like, I do think that
they have to prove their worth or something.
100%. Like this is my value, an agent could create problems.
Right.
Even a good experienced agent, by.
I'm not saying like don't shop rates. I'm not saying that. I'm saying don't do that shit after you're under contract.
Well, and also like how much extra stress does it just put on your client to have to do all of that crap 50 times, I mean, yeah, that should be a conversation that you have at the beginning, unless like earlier this year when rates started going up really fast. Yeah, it was, there were absolutely situations where it was like, oh my God, are your rates really 8%? We're going to shop it around. Or it was like, oh crap, his rates and his closing costs just went up to X. My guys can't even do this program anymore. So, but outside of that, like, don't do that to your clients. Like you don't prove your value by making things more difficult.
Right. I feel like once somebody's locked in on their interest rate and they've signed all their docs with the lender up front, like their good faith and all of that, like, why would you then tell them that now is a good time to shop around?
And there are extenuating circumstances. Like I've had a deal for almost 120 days. That is the gift that just keeps on giving. And my clients, God love them, I've worked with them many times, didn't take my recommendation for my lender, who they've worked with multiple times because his boss's wife had become a lender. And I mean, I get it. Like I would not want to be uncomfortable. I would want to use her too. 60 days, 90 days through the transaction, we found out she had missed some stuff that almost made the transaction like literally non-viable. And also like I knew, here's what Angela's saying. Like I knew from the beginning, I knew from day one before we went out to shop that her rate buy down program was almost triple what my lender charged. I knew that her origination fee was almost triple what my lender charged. And I knew that her rate in general was like 0.5 point to a point higher than what my preferred lender would charge. So, in the beginning, I did say to them, are you sure you guys don't want to talk to X? Because I think that it's always worth it to make sure that you're doing the best for yourself that you can. But I never brought that up again. Once they went under contract, I didn't go like, oh, you should shop all these lenders around. We did actually my guy ended up coming in and having to save the day with 8 days before closing. And that's a different reason for a switch. But that's interesting to me that you're seeing that so much.
Yeah. It's the second time I've had that. And like, the thing about it is the buyer's agent hasn't said shit to me about it. I only know about it because the lender called me. But the buyer's agent hasn't mentioned it. And so I think it's really crappy that if you as a listing agent and seller accept an offer, they can do that without even telling you. They can do that.
In Colorado, they can, yes.
They can change lenders and they don't even have to tell you.
I don't know about other parts of the country.
Calling lenders that you thought were the lender and then find out they aren't the lender anymore. And you're like, what?
They can change their loan program too, which was another thing we were, last year talking about where, they were accidentally switching from conventional that they did just to get an offer accepted to VA where you knew you weren't going to appraise, or FHA where you knew you're going to have a bunch of conditions, right? So yeah, in Colorado, they sure can. I also think this is interesting to me that you brought this up for lenders. We do have a lot of lenders that listen to our show. I feel like it's important for an agent to be in the right place brokerage wise, because if you're not with the place that's going to support you in the next year, I don't think you have a great chance of making it. But lenders, like, I feel like if you're not with the right lending institution, you're done.
Yeah.
Done. Like, I don't even know what else to say.
Every program available, like I would go there. Like,
every program available, rates that are good, the ability, however that works for you, to like reduce your fees or get a lower rate, like,
yeah,
you're going to be done.
competitive now. You're going to be shopped against everyone else, because if we're asking for, 20, 30 grand in concessions, I want to know what the hell they're buying down with that. Like, what are they buying down from? What will 20 grand buy me with you versus you? Like,
Yep.
That's what I want to know when I'm going under contract. Like, I think now you're going to have all of those rates and all of those fees are going to be under a microscope. So if you can go to a place that's going to save you a little bit, like, I would do that. Yeah.
I do think that every agent should, again, Angela and I had a unique experience. We were in the middle of a recession working together in Colorado Springs, and it was almost impossible to get anybody approved for anything. Like, they had just tightened up, real recession, right? 2007, 2008. They just tightened up lending guidelines to the point where like only the Pope was clean enough to get approved for a home loan, and so we spent a lot of time sitting in our model homes with our lenders, talking to them about programs, rates, buy downs, all these different things. So I do think that it's very important going into 2023 for every agent to spend time with their lender, learning about all those things. What gets someone approved, what gets someone denied, all these different things, ratios, all the things, right? But also, if you don't, and we're never going to know as much as a lender. Sorry, we're just not. But if you don't know your way around that, at least mostly, please do not start talking to people about that. Don't be encouraging them to go switch lenders and do things. Like, lending is terrifying.
Yeah, it's super intimidating, for most agents. But I think that now, especially like this time between now and the new year, there are lenders that will go and sit down with you and give you a little bit of education about how their process works on their side and what a payment difference might be with all of these different programs for people, at the same purchase price. Those are things that will really help you be a stronger agent and be able to present some of those options and opportunities to your clients ahead of time. Hey, this lender has all of these programs. I know you're not going to understand that, but I do. And here's why I think that they're really important for you to interview out of your three lenders that you're going to be looking at. This is why they're on my preferred lender list, that kind of thing.
1,000,000%. Oh my God. Yeah. And not even just that, but like, buyers, especially right now, are weary. They're nervous. And so the stuff that is keeping people back from buying, like I said this a couple of weeks ago, I had a friend whose son didn't even want to talk to a real estate agent because he was so worried that for his $4,300 a month in rent, that was going up to $4,700 a month in rent, he wouldn't be able to afford something. What? Like, absolutely. So buyers, they're uneducated, not in general, but because of how much has changed in the last 6 months. Right. All they've heard is doom and gloom. They're afraid of rates. I can't tell you how many conversations I'm having at the grocery store where someone's like, well, why would you buy right now? Rates are so high. So if you don't know how to combat that stuff and deal with objections like, oh, rates are really high. Okay, they are compared to the last 3 years. But, one time in college, I signed up for band camp and I bought a flute. It's an American Pie reference for anyone that's listening. And I didn't pay it off. And so I had a collection, but it fell off my credit like 27 years ago. But I just know I can't buy because of it. Right? Like, things that people are very afraid right now. So they're not engaging in the buying process because they're scared. Right? So if you don't know enough to go like, okay, well, this is how credit works, or this is how ratios work overall, or this is how interest rates work, like,
or sit with your clients and spend more time with them. Like, look, like, they might not have the best credit right now. They might qualify to buy right now, but if they can spend an extra 2 or 3 months fixing that, they're going to be in a much better position to buy later than right now. And you need to be a strong enough agent to tell them that, and your lender will probably tell them that, like, look, you can buy right now, but your rates are going to be a lot higher because of all of these things. If we fix these things, then you'll be able to buy, and it's only going to cost you X. Like, I understand the whole, like, date the rate ideal, but I don't think most lenders think that's a good idea. They think it's a great idea when it comes to them getting paid twice, because every time they process the loan, they get paid again. But I can't imagine any lender advising their family to do that. I would think that they would advise their family to fix what the issue is and then go out and buy, because you'll be in a stronger position. It'll be an easier loan to process. You'll get a better rate, all of those things. And, we know what rates are now. We have trends that we can see that show what the rates will be, to a certain degree.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't think that they're moving, what's the harm in just fixing your shit before you go and buy? Like,
right.
It's a huge difference. Like, the amount of change between like a 600 credit score, 640 credit score, and an 800 credit score in your interest rate is massive. And it changes your buying power a ton. So if there's something that you can do to fix that, I recommend you do that.
To me, I feel like I have no idea what 2023 is going to bring, but I do feel like it's going to be the year of the knowledgeable agent wins. I think there's going to be two types of agents that win 2023, 2024. It's going to be the ones that just put in so much work that by sheer law of numbers, they're going to succeed like crazy because they're calling, they're door knocking, they're talking to their sphere, they're doing the activities.
Yeah.
And B, I think it's going to be, they've always said in real estate, 90% of all real estate across the country is sold by the same 10% of agents. I think that's going to widen, because I think that as markets get harder and scarier and weirder, people look to the more experienced people. And I think that if you don't spend a bunch of time digging in and making yourself sound knowledgeable,
yeah,
you're going to get run the fuck over.
Yeah, no, I agree. I
mean, it's not like to be rude. It's just like, that agent, oh, it looks like you're killing it. Yeah, well, you've gotten rid of and redone your licensing test like 12 times in the 21 years that I have stayed in business and worked and been knowledgeable. So if you want to go toe to toe against Angela and I, who know all the things, I mean, good luck to you, right? But just because you're a newer agent does not mean that you couldn't outschool Angela and I.
Yeah.
Look at Harry Cherry. Again, go back and listen to that podcast episode. Dude went into a market where, like, the people in that market that have been selling the multi-million dollar properties for decades are the same people. And within a year, he carved himself out a pretty good little market niche there because he's so knowledgeable. He spent so much time getting his skill level and knowledge level up on par or above those guys.
Yeah. You got to figure out the kind of agent you want to be. Like, look at the people that you perceive to be killing it and figure out how you can kill it more. Or, how can you change and elevate the way that you're selling homes and, presenting your business? How can you do those things? Figure out how to do that and then put together a plan and do that. But don't just like call somebody that is working really, really, really hard to create a huge business and kind of cheapen what they've done. That's what I feel like Lindsay is probably upset about.
I don't know. It just gets on my nerves. It should just be like, okay, whatever. We're getting off of that. But yeah, I think that knowledge is going to shine. Knowledge and hard work is going to shine over the next 2 years, regardless of whatever happens to the market. And everyone's got a lot of time right now. Like, you can love the one thing about highly experienced agents that I will say is that they have a tendency to get lazy, and that can be a massive opportunity zone for newer agents to come in and take market share, right? They know what they know, but they're not spending that hour a day looking at their market knowledge, most likely, and their data, right? So like, if you could position yourself really quickly to at least be on par or, do better than those agents. So that's just what I think. I think that the last 6 months, this has already been the most skill-based market we've ever seen. And I think it's just going to get harder as far as skill level and commitment to work and knowledge go.
I mean, it's December 20th. You have 11 days to do your continuing education. So do it. I luckily have finished mine early this year.
Who are you?
I I feel like it's a good opportunity if you're already in there and you're already taking your continuing ed. You might as well take an extra class or two about something that might be interesting to you because you're going to learn something. So you might as well do it.
Agreed.
You don't have to take you 4 hours to take the, annual update. Like, take something you're really interested in instead of just something you have to take.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that it is. Do you think it's going to get harder or easier Q1?
I think it depends on how you set yourself up Q4. I think that there's still going to be quite a bit of uncertainty come January, and I think people are still going to be a little bit leery of buying, but I think that sellers are like, okay, now's a good time. Let me start getting the house ready to go and getting the house in the market. And they might be moving to different places. Like I have a lot of clients that are moving from Colorado Springs up to Parker. And instead of buying because they can't buy because they can't afford it, they're renting. So getting them into a place where they, are in a place that's for rent, but they're getting to be able to purchase here in the next year or two once they have established jobs and everything. But I'm starting to see people moving from, lower income parts of town into an area further north. So, and they might not have the ability to purchase yet. So I'm seeing a lot of that. But I think that January will come with a lot of listings, a lot of people selling and trying to get out of their home. They just have too many projects that they want to complete and they can't afford it. They'd rather sell and buy something that's done. That's my thoughts on it. So I think that we'll see quite a bit of new build surge come February, March. But lots of houses that are already renovated will be sold. I think that if you're putting a house on the market in January that's not renovated, it's going to sit for quite a long time instead of something that's already done.
No, I agree. And I think, I think that everyone, now that you're saying that too, should learn how to be a listing agent also, because, I do think that you're right. A lot of people are going to believe that they're at the peak, whether or not that's true or we passed it or it's coming, who knows? But they are going to cash out. And so I think that there will be more opportunities for listings than there will probably for buyers, at least over the next couple of months.
Yeah. But if you can get a buyer, like hang on to them.
Well, and hang on to your people in general. That was the other thing I was thinking when you were just talking is like 2023, 2024 are going to be like the last couple of years, the selling cycle was a lot faster. There were less objections. People pulled the trigger faster. This is going to be longer, right? And so you need to have plans in place, like not just like, oh, I should call Sally and Joe. I forgot that they said 6 months ago that they might want to. No, you need to have like systems and plans in place for long-term follow-up with people, because if you don't, the agent that does have that is going to kill you.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be a longer lead time for sure, longer nurture time.
Yep. I for sure could do a better job of that. So.
Yeah, but you stay in contact with your people just in different ways. You're not using like a 36 touch from a CRM, but you're still doing it. So, I don't know. I think it's I wish we could almost I think we should take, if anyone's in the chat, give us your prediction. What's going to happen, do you think, in 2023? Because my crystal ball shattered. I have no clue. I think by the time that we get to Christmas of 2023, I don't even know.
I don't know. I don't know what to expect because it's been such a difficult ride this year to predict in general. Like, I just want a normal market.
What is normal to you, though? That's such a good. What is normal to you?
Normal to me is houses that sit for 2 weeks to a month that sell for close to asking, and buyers get, closing costs as concessions, and that's about it. That's normal to me.
Agreed. I agree. Yeah, I think that's totally fair. I mean, we are off the next 2 weeks because it's Christmas and the New Year's. And so actually, I'm honestly even excited to see, like, when we come back, it'll be January 10th. And we know that statistically market always picks up as we go into like the second week of January. So I'm even excited to see January 10th, what things are going to look like. So I think it's changing that fast.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to see where everybody is and what's going on. And I hope everybody has a wonderful holiday season, and we will see you guys in January.
Yeah, I hope everybody does some self-care time, some family time. I know it could be a hard year, and so I hope you just take some time to think about what you're grateful for, even though it could be rough and things could look different financially this Christmas. And if you guys need anything, reach out to us. But we are excited to see you on the flip side. It'll be exciting.
Yeah.
It's like roulette of real estate. We'll see.
What's going to happen? We don't know.
Couldn't tell you. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks. We love you. Happy 2022. Happy New Year.
Angela and Lindsay would love to receive your real estate referrals in Colorado. Connect with the Homegirls on social media at The Real Homegirls Podcast.